A very great morning to you watching Western Television, wherever you are catching the show live from. Your most welcome. My name is Denis. It is the Wednesday edition of the program, the Kokoliriko show that comes to you every Monday through Friday, right here. 23 minutes past over 7 a.m. Your most welcome, and I am here to give you a breath of every information that you need to know so that you get acquainted with what is happening in our country, Uganda. And where can you get the information rightly? It is only Western Television. And remember, we are coming to you live on Zuku satellite channel 0073 and Star Times channel 477. Not forgetting the YouTube page of Western Television, and we are really catching the show live right there. And do not forget that you can as well follow us on Facebook, that is at Western Television right there. Twitter handle Western Television, and so these are the platforms that we are on. So I can really boast of saying that we are coming to you live on 5 platforms as I do talk to you this morning. A very good morning to you in West Nile. It is a chilly morning. I have to tell you that yesterday it rained heavily this side of West Nile. I do not know whether it was the same case with Pakwach, Nebi, Zombo, Arua district, and not forgetting Marasha, Kopoko, Yumbe, Jumani, whether it also rained the way it rained cats and dogs here in Arua city. And so those that are not having power in your area, you have to know that it could be because of the heavy downpour with a lot of storm yesterday evening, and it really affected people's movement back home. Many people reached home late because of the heavy downpour that we experienced. And this is after a week without rain. And so the previous days, it has been too hot, and so people were really, wondering what is happening. Is it the change of weather pattern? But the fact is, we have to know that the climate change is real, and so if the rain pattern that we are really receiving now is not like it was in the past, you have to know that because of the climate change. And what causes climate change? I have to tell you that there are very many factors. And so one of the biggest factors I can really say this morning is the human activities on the environment. And so make sure that you protect, conserve the environment that is in your surrounding right there. And also make sure that you plant more trees for those who are in areas without trees. We have some areas in West Nile, when you are making a phone call to a person, you might think that the person is in an aeroplane and is taking his flight, and so you wonder how they survive right there. And so that means that there are no trees completely, or the trees are not enough to break the wind that blows in that area. And so we have to really see how we can protect our environment. Let us conserve the environment. The trees that we do have, let us really guard against those who are found of cutting down these trees. And I would love to challenge those who are found of renting out their pieces of land, their pieces of land that have trees to the shackle dealers. Let us desist from that. I love what the leaders in Asholi sub-region are doing, trying to protect the environment. Much as the issue has really turned to be against those who are protecting the environment, and that makes one to wonder why should you continue to fight for the conservation of the environment, and then on the other side, the same people trying to castigate you, want you arrested, maybe because of some few actions that might not be in conformity to the law that we have in this country. But I believe that the actions of these people, according to what have been really following, has not been so bad. Only that in Uganda, the Congolese always say that Ugandans are very wise. Once they have done something wrong, when this person runs to the police to report, the police will will really be in support of the person who ran first, even when they have known that this person has really committed a crime. And so they tend to side with the person who has reported first to the police. And so this is the similar case of the former member of parliament for Aru County, Honorable Odonga Oto, having a police case against him over the issues to do with the protecting the environment in the Asholi sub-region. And so, and some few individuals ran to police and reported him that they stole their money, and also they were beaten up. ABCD. And so yesterday, I have to tell you that Honorable Dongao Tau was able to hand himself over to the police to make statement in regards to the allegations that were really put on him right there. And so we will be able to follow the development of this particular story, and you will get to know. And if this is the way we are going to protect our environment, it is going to be a little bit very, very hard for other members of the public to join against, destruction of the environment, because it is really causing a lot of problems. Global warming, the climate change that we are experiencing, and if we continue to persecute or prosecute those who are taking lead in protecting the environment, that is quite unfortunate. On the other side, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is saying that we should really be able to conserve the wetlands that we do have, but the people who are trying to guard against the occupation in the wetland are being being persecuted, and it becomes a little bit very hard to really fight some of these vices that we see affecting our country, Uganda. It applies to the issue to do with the corruption as well. In our country, Uganda, if you come out boldly to fight corruption, you will see yourself being persecuted and prosecuted at the same time, and that is where the problem is. And I've been having interactions with the Job Richard Matua yesterday. He is one of the persons who has joined the rest of the citizens to see that corruption is really gotten rid of in our country, Uganda. And so he was able to tell me that people are advising him that he's supposed to leave, fight against corruption that he has undertaken. And so when people begin to advise you in that direction, and you have to know that everything is really, going upside. And so it's quite unfortunate that we live in a country that we have cowards who always cowardize for something that they are supposed to join hands to see that it is fought. And if we wash our hands away from fighting corruption, and also we wash our hands completely from protecting our environment, I am trying to imagine what my grandchildren will experience in the years to come. And I do not know how your grandchildren will be able to experience. I do not know what you are doing to see that your grandchildren live a better life in the environment that is worth living as human persons. Remember, we are one of the countries in the world that has got the green coverage, and so as a country we should not really lose that calling that it is always given to our country, Uganda, as the Pearl of Africa. And so if we want to lose that, then let us continue to destroy our environment. Then we shall not be called the Pearl of Africa as it is always being called. All right, dear viewer, you have to know that the World Bank Ministry of Local Government and together with Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, that is in charge of the USMID additional financing, was able to really, grill the contractor of the two bridges that we have here in the Arua City, which the project was awarded to NIM Investment Limited. And so the officials are not satisfied with the amount of work that is being done, at the two construction sites right there. Away from here in Arua City, let's get to Moyo district. You have to know that police in Moyo are investigating a case of a missing person whose skull and bones were discovered in Eria North Village, Eria Parish, Moyo Sub-County, Moyo District right there. So the skull of the unidentified person was discovered by some children who were grazing cows in the area and reported the matter to the elders, who later alerted the police of Moyo Central Police Station. And so the police spokesperson for Northwest Nile, Superintendent of Police Ignatius Dragudu, is urging the community members whose relative has gone missing to go to, that is Moyo Central Police Station, to help in the identification of the skull. And I do not know whether it will be possible to identify the skull of that particular person unless people are able to report cases of missing persons right there in Moyo district. The good thing that the person was got with a blue t-shirt next to this car. So a blue t-shirt was got next to this car, and so this is something that came through from that is Moyo, and we believe that the people of Moyo should be able to help police in identifying this particular skull of this unidentified person who died or was murdered. We do not know yet. It's police to come out with the report, and got rotten, and his skull and the bones were really found right there by these children, and it's something that you need to know. All right, dear viewer, you have to know that today is the International Nurses Day will be on 12th. That will be on Friday, and today is 10th of May 2023. Tomorrow is 11th of May 2023, and on 12th Friday will be 12th of May 2023, and it will be International Nurses and Midwives Day. For our country Uganda, where will the celebration be? I have to tell you that International Nurses and Midwives Day will be celebrated right here in Arua city, and the activity started yesterday with the nurses joining hands together with the midwives to clean the streets of Arua city in preparation for the D-Day that will be on 12th of May 2023 here in Arua. And so there are public lectures that are going on starting today at Muni University at a conference hall right there at Muni University. And so today, tomorrow, and Friday, the bigger celebration will be at the graduation ground of Muni University. And so all the nurses and midwives, we celebrate you, and we also join you to celebrate this particular day that has been dedicated specifically for you people. So the Nurses Day celebrations are going to be held here in Arua district in West Nile. And so as Arua city, as Arua district, as West Nile, we have to be very proud to have this day celebrated here. And so we should join our hands together with the nurses and midwives. Who is that person who has not been helped by a nurse or by a midwife? If you are there, allow me to see yourself. Raise up your hands and wave to me. I will be able to recognize you. If you have never passed through the hands of nurses and midwives here in our country Uganda, or in the hands of the doctors, let me say, if you have never been treated in any of the hospital or any of the clinics that we do have in our country Uganda, let me see you, and I will be able to confirm that you don't have a reason to join the nurses and midwives to celebrate their day. That will be on 12th of May 2023, and the national celebration will be right here in Arua district, Arua city. So this day is celebrated worldwide. It is not only for our country Uganda. Every year on 12th of May is something that you need to know. And so the nurses and midwives have been called upon to prepare and also plan to celebrate the day very well. And this is from Uganda Nurses and Midwives Council that is in Kampala. And so as Western Television, we shall be able to give you every updates, every information that you need to know about this International Nurses and Midwives Day celebration that will be celebrated right here in Arua city, Arua district. And so for your information, you have to know that the nurses have come together. The more nurses that are coming to join in the celebration, that will be on 12th May 2023. While for the business people that we have here in Arua, I think the business will be able to boom because more people will be added, and more especially those in the accommodation world. You will be able to accommodate the nurses who will be coming to celebrate the International Nurses and Midwives Day here in Arua. And the celebration, according to the information that I've been able to obtain, will be taking place at Muni University. For your information, this is something that you need to know. Why have they chosen Muni University? Because one, Muni University has one of the biggest halls that we have in Western Sub-region, and then secondly, when it comes to the ceremonial ground, I think we only have Muni University that can really provide that ceremonial ground that can be used for there was a celebration. And remember, Uganda, remember Arua city has got what we call the independence ground for such event, and that is why the event has been pushed to Muni University. This is something that you need to know. And so it is a very big challenge to the authorities of Arua city. They have to be thinking about the independence ground or the ceremonial ground. I love what Mariupol is doing under what we call a Dr. Deep project right there. They're opening up a very big independence ground or ceremonial ground that can be used for organizing public functions right there in Mariupol. While for Arua city, it's quite unfortunate that it becomes very hard to organize the public function. within the city center because the independence ground that we used to have in the name of Arua Hill was just blindly, allow me to use that word, blindly, they're my words, given to a private investor to really construct that particular place, in which after the construction the place will not serve its purposes that it was serving before it was given out. And so this is something that you need to know. Police ground has turned to be parking lot for Uganda Police Force Traffic Department, more especially vehicles that are being impounded. And so we cannot hold a very big public function right there at police ground. We have Arua Public Primary School playgrounds, and that is for a primary school. And we cannot disorganize the peace of the students, of the pupils that are studying at Arua Public Primary School right there. What about Arua Primary School playgrounds? It is still undergoing refurbishment, and so we cannot also disturb the growing grass that has been planted in the name of organizing public functions. And so we are at the, we have been squeezed at the corner when it comes to the issue of public ground. In most cases, they tend to run to Onduparaka, which is around 3 kilometers away from the city center, to organize function, in which, to me, it's not good. And that's why when President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni came to Arua, he was hosted at golf ground in which golf ground is not supposed to be for organizing public function like that. And so that is also a very big challenge to the city leadership. And I do not know what they're discussing in their meetings, whether to secure a very big piece of land that can be opened up just for ceremonial functions and also independence celebrations. Currently, it is a little bit very challenging when we are to host international days, and that's why the International Nurses and Midwives Day has been pushed to be celebrated at Muni University, where we do have also students studying right the other side. And that means that for 3 days, activities at Muni University will be interrupted because of this particular function. Much as the university is also offering science courses, training nurses and midwives right there, but in actual sense, what about other students who are doing other courses? How safe are they during this time that the university will be hosting this kind of function that will run for 3 days, today, tomorrow, and Friday, is something that you need to know right there. All right, away from that, let's get to the issue to do with the burial arrangement for late Member of Parliament for, that is Oyam North. I am talking about Colonel, retired Charles Engola right there. And you have to know that yesterday the body of Colonel, retired Charles Engola, laid in state, and meaning that the body was taken to Parliament of the Republic of Uganda for really for tribute right there. And so members of Parliament were able to pour out their hearts to the slain Member of Parliament Charles Engola right there. And so Parliament yesterday in the morning received the body of slain former State Minister for Labour, gender, that is none other than Colonel, that is Charles Engola Okello, for members of Parliament to pay their last respects. And so a dark cloud of grief hovered over the house as the former Oyam North Member of Parliament body was being received by Speaker Annette Among shortly after 10 a.m. before proceeding to sign a condolence book right there at Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. The casket containing the body was afterwards placed at the center of Parliament South Wing lobby right there, and the Speaker Among then proceeded to pay her last respects by proceeding to view the body and bowing her head, a move that was repeated by other legislators and family members present in the lobby. And so most of them were black, wore black color that often worn during periods of mourning here in Africa and in the world. So some legislators in the process, uncontrollably broke down, into tears and were, inconsolable. So Eric Rimas will be held today, at the Kokoliriko Independence Grounds for the late minister, with the President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the head of state, expected to be the chief mourner. And so during such function, we only have one chief mourner. The rest are ordinary mourners, and so that is something you need to know. There was a discussion I had with some people whether it is necessary to, have somebody to be called chief mourner, or all of us we should be addressed as mourners, because all of us we are grieved of the death of our friend, of our loved one, and all of us we become chief mourners right there. And so you have to know that. After the recrimas in Kokoliriko Independence grounds today, on Thursday tomorrow, the body will be airlifted to Oyam district ahead of his burial on Saturday 13th of May 2023 is something that you need to know. You have to know that Lieutenant General Mugira noted that the assassination of Minister Engola should not be reduced to the issue of low salary and allowances for the UPDF soldiers who are really doing their work. As he was really eulogizing the late Charles Engola, he said that this is indiscipline period. Yes, there might be issues to be addressed, but let us not sow seeds of anarchy, hatred, fear, and animosity, where even as members of parliament will fear going back to our homes because we fear our maids, we fear our maids, askaris, and chefs. And so this is according to Lieutenant General, that is Mugira, who is one of the representatives of the Uganda People's Defense Forces at Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. And you have to know that Uganda People's Defense Forces has got 10 slots for the UPDF representatives. And so he's one of those persons who were really chosen to represent the Uganda People's Defense Forces at Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. And so these were his words. And so the Speaker has also expressed her displeasure with the unfortunate practice in which people celebrate the death of those they don't agree with. And she says that this is not something good, that we should really be able to carry on as Ugandans, as Africans, as human persons, celebrating the death of somebody. It is uncultured in African society. And so the Speaker, Anita Annette Mong, did say that it is quite unfortunate. It is an unfortunate practice in which people celebrate the death of those they don't agree with. And so if you don't agree with Denis Oringi, if I pass on, never celebrate that I have died, because you will also die. You understand? And so time will come for you also to die. And so there's no need for you to celebrate. All of us, we are just on the journey to our final destination, and we do not know when our journey can be can be cut short in the process while we are making the journey. And so we did know that Charles Engola would be gunned down just like that in the morning when he was prepared already to leave for work. And I do not know when I will also depart from this world. Maybe it can get me when I'm in the studio. I do not know. I leave it all to the Creator, the person who said that I should continue to exist in this world. Because if not because of that person, I would not be here by this particular time. Try to remember how many have left and you are still around. Why don't you give glory to the person who created you? I do not know the person who created you, but we have been told that we have been created by God, and I believe that He is there, and He continues to protect me as well. And so we should always be grateful. I have been telling people that if you want to know that life is a little bit very unique, get time and go to these hospitals that we do have, specialized hospitals, and see how people are battling for their lives. And you who is still walking, standing tall, having that gut to speak, having that gut to say whatever you want to say, having that energy to walk and eat whatever you want to eat. You can sleep and wake up early in the morning, and you can come for work like me. Then you have to say, God, thank you. I didn't know I can really come to this place at this time in the morning. There are many who are battling for their dear lives, and so that is life for us, and we should be able to always get to understand what life is. And if you don't understand how life is, then you will get confused in this world, and you'll find yourself not understanding the reason why you have been created. And so we need what we call self-reflection each and every time to get to understand who we are as human persons. And then we begin now analyzing other animals like cows, goats, dogs, cats. How are they surviving? How are they living? The trees, the mountains, the hills, they communicate for your information if you do not know. And so as living things, we have been taught the characteristics of living things. We should appreciate those characteristics that do exist. And so we should not try to say that, you know, you are the Alpha and Omega. No, you understand? Because before the world was created, there were some people, before you were created, the world existed, and there were people who existed even before you were created. And so remember, you will not be the first and the last person to survive in this world. And so whatever you do unto a colleague, remember that you will also be treated the same way you are treating your colleague. And so when you are living with the human persons, you should be able to understand this dynamic and understand these. The Catholics call it mystery. And so this is the mystery. When we are talking about life, we don't understand life, and we shall understand life after living the life and after you have gone away from there. And so members of parliament yesterday took their time quoting the speaker verbatim, saying that you know, it is inhuman, it is also uncultured and very immoral to celebrate the death of anyone because you hold divergent views. Beyond our different political and religious affiliations, we are humans. It is normal to disagree and hold different views, but what binds us together is what we are, all human beings. And so while paying tribute to the late Honorable Colonel Charles Okello Engola, the leader of opposition, Right Honorable Matthias Mpuga, has questioned the effectiveness of the cameras that were installed back in 2019. We have these same cameras here in Arua, but we continue to register cases of theft, you know, highway robbery, you know, armed robbery. Sometimes back, I think 2 weeks now, there was a gentleman who was robbed just opposite where Western Television is located. And at the junction that heads to Oluko Mvara, there are cameras that have been installed right there. And according to the eyewitnesses, they say that the armed robbers came and robbed this gentleman of his money, and as they were leaving, they were firing bullets to scare away the people, and they entered into Barifa. Up to now, we have not got the report in regards to that, you know, armed robbery that took place right there. And so we also question whether these cameras that have been installed here in Arua, they're working, and if they're working, how is the police, you know, giving accountability to the members of the public in regards to the, you know, the cameras that have been installed? And so I think the leader of opposition, Right Honorable Matthias Mpuga, was right also to put this question, you know, to the government while, you know, paying tribute to late Honorable, you know, Colonel Okello Charles Engola right there. And so Matthias Mpuga said he has told the House that because of the ineffectiveness of these cameras, the state has not succeeded in, you know, prosecuting such gun shooting cases in courts of law. You know, it reminds me of also the shooting of late Ibrahim Abriga in 2018. And up to now, we have never had government, you know, giving reports about the shooting of, you know, the former member of parliament for Arua municipality, the slain, you know, Ibrahim Abriga, who was gunned down together with his bodyguard, you know, in Kawanda, that is in Kampala. And so we also really, you know, ask the same question. And so why is it very hard for these people who, you know, use snipers, you shoot people using guns and they cannot be arrested? We heard of the cases of Chirimira, you know, 2 weeks ago. Court was able to, you know, to acquit, you know, the suspects who were arrested. So as I talk right now, the former Buyende District Police Commander, you know, Muhammad Chirimira, those that were arrested in connection to his shooting have all been left. They were found not guilty, according to the court, a verdict right there. And so they have been released, and we don't have any person right there. And this reminds me of the several killings that have taken place in our country, Uganda. How far with the, with the processes of, giving justice to those who are seeking justice right there. And so I think it's a very big challenge to the government of the Republic of Uganda. Remember the shooting of Isma. It's still a very, a big issue in our country, Uganda, where even the person or the persons who planned for his killing have not yet been arrested. But the people who have been arrested so far are 3 people, according to police. In the report that was given by Fred Enanga. And so we do not know whether they are the right persons or not yet, because in our country, Uganda, you're first treated as suspect until proven guilty or innocent by court of this country. Is something that you need to know. All right, still, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, eulogized the late as war hero who played a fundamental role in the pacification of northern Uganda against the Lord Resistance Army insurgency, and acquired the name Mash Oduogo, meaning fire has returned. And those who have ever been, getting this name, Mash Oduogo, literally it means fire has returned, meaning that the local people could now make fire at their home, warm themselves, and they can also take hot water in form of tea, because during the LRA insurgency, let me tell you, it was impossible for one to make fire. And I can remember vividly in 1998 in around Kitgum, which is currently, it is in now Lamoa district, that is in Kitgum. We used to have that experience where if it's now coming to around 6 p.m., you have to leave your home and try to find where you can really take refuge. And if you are coughing, you have to push a piece of cloth inside your mouth, and you just have to cough, because if you cough in the ordinary way that we are coughing now, it will be very easy for the LRA rebels to identify where you are hiding. And so when you see the people in northern Uganda, more especially in Asholi and Lao and Teso sub-regions, they are celebrating, they are drinking, they are having nightclubs, dancing throughout the night, walking in a bossy way, you have to allow them to really do whatever they want to do now, because it was impossible for them. If you're traveling during daytime, you find that they have just burnt vehicles and fresh dead bodies along the Gulu Kitgum Road and Thatch Moment. I shouldn't really recall, because it really makes me it makes me break down right there, because of what some of us were able to witness. And I always tell young people, much as I'm also a young person, let us not pray for war, and let us always resolve issues amicably at our homes, in our community, in our society, in our sub-county, in our district. Even if it is a political matter, let us not take it to the extreme, because you do not know what it will really culminate into. And so, for those who have never experienced war, I am telling you this because I know children born in 1992, 1993, up to date, they do not know what war is. They only just listen or watch on screen, but they have never experienced. And never pray to experience that, because you will not like it. If you want change of government, let it be peaceful. That is what I can tell you this morning. If you want the government to continue staying in power, then you have to coexist with the government by supporting what government is doing, so that the peace that we are enjoying now, the peace that you have, that you can really leave your home at any time, you can go to Kampala, use any means of transport, and you still reach Kampala and call back and tell the people at home that, please, I have reached. We have to appreciate that, because if we do not appreciate, then you will appreciate it when you are no longer in existence here in this world. You will appreciate it either when you are with your creator or when you are with your ancestor. I do not know where you will go at the end of your life here in this world. And so I leave it at that. And so this gentleman who is now slain has been eulogized and recognized for the fundamental role he played in the pacification of northern Uganda. He was in charge of, he was a division commander by that time that he was still a brigadier. I can remember he was able to man that corridor of the Minakulu Omoro corridor coming to the side of Lao up to that is Leptong Kole downstream up to area of the Masison Falls, and so he's known for his command that he gave during the time of the pacification of northern Uganda right there. And so the Prime Minister has also described him as someone who served his country as a humble servant, fearless warrior, and with ultimate honesty. And yeah, when you have died, people will always speak good about you, but you will never hear them speaking something about bad about you. I am not saying that the people should really be speaking some of the negative things that might have been committed by this particular slain former member of parliament right there. But the fact is, in Africa, in Uganda, once somebody has died, we only talk good about the person. We don't talk bad about the person, and that is the case here in Uganda. I have buried many people as Denis Oringi in my capacity. Have never quoted any person saying bad about the deceased. Even if a deceased was slaughtered while he was stealing somebody's goat, that point will never come out during the time of the burial when people are really paying tribute. They will always say this gentleman was a good gentleman. He has been helping people do this. Whenever you meet him, he smiles with you, he greets you. But they don't want to point out that. I do not know whether that will change sometimes to come. That we shall also begin debating those who have died by giving their negative sides and also positive sides. And so that it also sounds like lessons to those who are still living alive. And for me, I believe in that. That it is possible to kind of say something about somebody right there. And so that is something that you need to know in regards to that. All right, dear viewer, you have to know that 1 minute to the top of the hour of 8 a.m. right on Western Television. Let's go for a break, and when we come back, we still have more for you right on Western Television. My name is Denis Oringi, and it's Kokoliriko Show. We are coming to you live on satellite, that is Zuku, channel 0073, and also StarTimes channel 477. And do not forget, we are coming to you also live on our YouTube page, and also Facebook page as well. And those who are following us on Twitter, we thank you as well for getting the updates as we do give you every information that you need to know. Let's go for a break, and we shall be able to come back. And do not forget, towards the half past, that is 8 a.m., we shall be able to have the sport updates coming to your way right there. You want to know what exactly happened between, that is Real Madrid and Manchester City yesterday night? Stay glued to your screen and do not touch your remote. Leave it on the channel that you are watching, which is Western Television. Good morning.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Get more for less on StarTimes this Easter season. Cartoon channel for best children entertainment. New global series. Local drama on Mercula TV and football all around the world. Simply make weekly or monthly subscription and enjoy upgrade to the next bouquet. For classic or super bouquet customers, subscribe for a month and enjoy 5 days extra. Family time with StarTimes. StarTimes is regulated by UCC.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
I'm telling you that all the spirits of DJ Terrell, my. Hear the spirit. Yes. Hey! You give me strength all the way. Oh yeah, I gotta spend it all.
better they take it. Not a no way, what you do, Tim Lope, what you more like,
yeah, you make me temperature the rise. Yeah, make me temperature the rise. Alright.
My name is Simon, living with DJ Jerome.
I am Fifi. Yeah.
Let's do it! Say! Thank you, DJ Jerome. You're one of the best.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, I will be back. You're still watching Western Television. My name is Denis Oringi. Let us get more to the lives of Charles Engola. You have to know that Engola's family fronts a son for Oyam North County seat is what you need to know here in our country, Uganda. In our country, Uganda, if a member of parliament has passed on, it is a common practice that they want the son or the daughter to really replace that particular person. And this has been a common practice in our country, Uganda, politically. And so let's look at that angle of the politics in regards to the death of Charles Engola. What is the family saying and what is cooking up in regards to replacing him right there? And so before somebody is buried, people begin planning his succession, and so who should really be able to succeed him. And so this is what happens in our country, Uganda, whenever a member of parliament dies, whether a woman or male one. And so they always plan that either his son or his daughter should really take up the mantle. But leadership it's not, let me tell you, it's not about maybe Oringi has been a leader and the son can be able to lead like the way Oringi leads. And this is my personal opinion in this. And so I do not know why we get excited to rush to, make such statement and begin, convincing, a family member to stand to replace a person. Why can't we give it to the members of the public, and also we give it to even the family members to decide, but not being pushed to make a decision right there. And so, Colonel retired Charles Okello Engola Mashudugo's family has fronted one of his children, Samuel Jr. Engola, for the Oyam North County seat, is what you need to know. And so this follows the death of the State Minister for Gender, Labor and Social Development, Engola, who was also the Oyam North County Member of Parliament. He was shot dead by his bodyguard, Private Wilson Sabiti. It's what you need to know. On Tuesday last week, Sabiti later killed himself. And so Electoral Commission, is yet to declare the Oyam North County seat vacant. So Electoral Commission acts upon notification from the Clerk of Parliament about the need to fill a vacant position, after which it releases a detailed program for campaigns to enable interested persons or candidates from the various parties, to contest for elections. However, the Engola's family has asked the National Resistance Movement to consider making Junior Engola the party's flag bearer in the by-election right there. And so he should inherit the flag right there from the father. And so that is what the National Resistance Movement is trying to really, the Engola's family is trying to ask the National Resistance Movement to make such a decision. Jacob Okello, the Otikonkin club chief in charge of Oyam North, confirmed the development that this is what they have agreed as the clan members to have the son of that is Charles Engola, Samuel Jr. Engola, to really, replace the father. And so when contacted on Monday, you have to know that Junior Engola confirmed that he had accepted to take up the mantle of leadership from his deceased father. Is something that you need to know. In our country, Uganda, if somebody comes to me that Denis Oringa, I want you to go and stand as a member of parliament, why should I refuse? Because there's money there in parliament, there's money. And so I don't think any person here in our country, Uganda, will not agree with the decision that people are trying to reach at. They will obviously say, let's have Denis Oringi replace somebody right there. I'm not campaigning and I do not want even to go there. What I'm doing now is good for me. It will be until I will say, now I think it is enough for me to stand and always speak, on television. And if they come to me like they have come to the son of, Charles Engola, I find out okay, because I know that they will be able to sponsor. So long as I will not be able to spend my personal money, but they will be able to sponsor whatever they want me to do. There's no problem, because what am I looking for? I also need money, and so I know the son of Engola, Samuel Junior Engola, he also wants to enjoy the privileges that the father was enjoying when he was the member of parliament, and also the state minister for gender, labor and social development right there. And so what are they saying? And so you have to know that the 11th parliament term ends in 2026, so that means that we still have something to do with 2 years ahead of us to have the people of Oyam North represented at Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, and this has to be done very soon. And so I believe that very soon after maybe the burial of the late Charles Engola, Electoral Commission will be able to come out with the roadmap basing on what is now cooking up. And so what you need to know here is that after which Ugandans will again go to the general election. So after 2026, we shall be able to get to another election right there. So for the 2 years remaining, the people of Oyam North need to be represented. And so we are waiting from the Electoral Commission to make that decision, and also to come out with the roadmaps that will be used right there. And so you have to know that the Oyam NRM chairperson, Jasper Onena, said several people had expressed interest in the position. And so he added that on May 6th, the Oyam NRM executives met some of the aspiring candidates, including, that is the former Ambassador Julius Peter Moto, Mr. Alfred, that is Obaro, Isheme Town Council chairperson, and Mr. Augustine Oba Kekene, a medical worker. These are people who have so far, shown interest to replace the slain member of parliament right there. Others are Willie Omondo, former NRM Youth Vice Chairperson for Northern Uganda, and Queen Dorothy Omolo. And these were people, these are people who seems to be having interest to replace the slain member of parliament, Charles Ingola, as member of parliament for, that is Oyam North right there. Away from that, let's get to Uganda police force. You have to know that police will not allow illegal anti-government protests, says Enanga, who is the police spokesperson for Uganda Police Force Uganda. And so police have vowed to disperse and disrupt all unlawful assemblies, and processions in the country. Quoting Fred Enanga, verbatim, he says here, we shall continue asking our powers and we shall continue using our powers and discretion in policing to detect and prevent crime, maintain law and order. All our territorial commanders have been tasked to use lawful and reasonable force to disperse and disrupt the unlawful assemblies, says the police spokesperson Fred Enanga right there. So Enanga's remarks were directed at organizers of planned Uganda's economic protest. Remember, there are some group of people who are trying to plan for a protest dubbed that is Uganda's economic protest right there. So the protests were reportedly planned by activists and politicians over the surge in commodity prices and fuel in the country is what you need to know. And so maybe they want to emulate what Kenyans were doing sometimes back, and I do not know where they have reached with their protest in regards to the surge in commodity prices and fuel in Kenya right there. And so this is similar, group seems to be, coming up here in our country, Uganda, and so police seems to have detected already, and they are just waiting to act. And so this is something that you need to know. So according to Fred Enanga, he said that 8 suspects linked to the planned protest were arrested from Lugala and Waise in the wee hours of Monday with the materials for making petrol bombs. And police said the organizers were hiding behind the protest to wreak havoc in the city, is what you need to know right there. Let's get to matters to do with health. You have to know that leprosy and tuberculosis are not witchcraft-related diseases. According to Dr. Diana Atwine, who is the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health here in our country, Uganda, she has said that leprosy and tuberculosis, are not witchcraft-related diseases. So when you are suffering from such diseases, you have not to say that you have been bewitched by somebody. You have to know that these are diseases that do exist. And so you have to seek medical attention from the nearby health facility that is next to you right there. And so the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Dr. Diana Atwine, has warned the public against making tuberculosis and leprosy to be witchcraft-related diseases. Quoting her verbatim, she says, you know very well that tuberculosis kills 30 people every day, and approximately 91,000 patients are registered every year in Uganda of tuberculosis here, and so that's what is on record. But instead of seeking proper medical attention, people still go to witch doctors to get remedies. Dr. Diana Atwine said during the TB and leprosy prevention dialogue in Kampala, that is on Monday. She noted that most people wait for the situation to worsen before they seek medical attention, which is very dangerous to their lives. And when a person dies here in West Nile, we tend to to tag the death of the person to witchcraft, and we begin bringing problem in the society, in the community where we stay, by saying that so and so is the one who has planned for the death of so and so. And so it's very common in Alur. Itengemira Alur kangate to para ngene to pare nongata juneko para nega mete kadonga to beru to selim de you metungo junyu peselim pangati niya ngati bega ko selim leme maju wadu kende niya ya ngati jajoku negure ngati enne jumare go jubega temo lambe kumeni ento giwa wangeo ngo kit manongo ngato bedo kani ko kude ngom woto para bedo nenedi iketu kangate to engate motore mangeo ko para kit mo bedo kude ngom woto para bedo nenedi ango me bedo kani shur ka kude kuguma rash nia ya kawatie kani kadi remo maletu wa kweto kani nyuto lembe manwango watie kani kado ko iye an lembe eni kanada ko to edwake lunde kelo peko e kom joro kwa jako mako joka keni udi jo wango dano mo keni jo negule ya jo tongu jo do ko nge swing e kom ping manwango dogi dembe e don dak mego madit manene itenge mi neno niya ya kalma dit maneno lem yotkom wotu maber maiti daktari Diana Twina washine ya to do kara chelo go to onda matek majulongo TBA o makungoju bedo kare me washine ya ka ngati utieko to dobu nyeti ko to TB jujogi utieka ni keto to enore kom ngati e kumeni ngo eni pale ete tuo ma jungi opere da ngeya ya de tie kani ishido I ode ya jiromo ko nyaro pio pio no ngete kan washine ya kakudi dano tie kan kaddo kudi e arem patuma kumeno makungo girengi oda joga ni gamo yat kudi banga joga ni ya mekeo to dobu nyoni keo to TB angomo makungato tim neni akokro ishidi ode yat ket jupim pituone manjume yat mopore ni nenu ni ya tuo eni ilwenyo ikome. Dear viewer, I felt it is important that I should be able to make this in Alur because this kind of allegation saying that this person is being bewitched, when a person is suffering from TB and the person is suffering from leprosy. So Dr. Diana Twin is warning us that let us not tag these diseases to witchcraft. In our society, we have to advise such people who are suffering from such diseases to go to the nearby health facility so that they are helped. Because if they go to the witch doctors will eat their money. And that is their principle, by the way, for your information. Whoever loves going to a witch doctor, that person is prone to become the most poorest person in that community. You cannot go to a witch doctor who tells you, I'm going to give you a vehicle, money that you can really buy a vehicle. When this witch doctor is not even having a bicycle, why can't you tell him first buy for yourself a vehicle and then you see so that I can really breathe? And if I this witch doctor will tell you, I will really be able to make you, live in a very good house. But where this person is practicing witchcraft, the person is living in a god's, house. The kind of the house where this person does his thing, and you wonder why we continue to believe in such. And so let us move away from tagging leprosy and tuberculosis to witchcraft, and that is not something that we should really be able to continue saying. And so that is something that Dr. Diana Twine is telling us this morning, that let us not tag leprosy and tuberculosis to that is witchcraft. All right, away from that, let's get to a more story here that the police will continue to crack down on drug abuse using old laws. And so remember, last week there was that story about the nullification of the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act of 2015 by the Constitutional Court. Last stirred debate in the country, and so current debate in the country is that if the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Act of 2015 was nullified by the Constitutional Court, why should police continue to arrest the people who smoke bangis and chew marungi and smoke weeds here in our country, Uganda? And so there's a lot of debate, but police have said that they will continue to crack down on drug abuse using the old laws right there. And so, but you have to know that on 8th of May, a statement released by police have warned to arrest anyone found culpable of drug offense such as consumption and possession, that remains illegal under the National Drug Authority Act. And so Section 47 prohibits possession without lawful excuse and narcotic drug or psychotropic substances under international control, while Section 49 prohibits the cultivation of plants yielding narcotics without the written consent of the minister. And so this is according to the National Drug Authority Act that police is using now, quoting section that is 47 and section 49 that provides prohibition of possession without lawful excuse any narcotic drugs right there and psychotropic substance. And so police spokesperson Fred Enanga pointed to the adverse consequences of narcotic consumption as well as their illegality as major drivers to the reinforced approach in dealing with the drug abuse in our country, Uganda. So figure by police show that cases of narcotics and drugs doubled last year to, that is 2,797 cases compared to 1,668 cases reported in 2021. And so a total of 4,818 were a total of 4,818 suspects were arrested and charged to court, including 137 juveniles in relation to the abuse of drugs here in our country, Uganda. Now, what
informed this decision of the nullification of these particular narcotics, drugs, and psychotropic substances. Uganda's Constitutional Court on Friday last week repealed the country's Narcotics, Drugs, and Psychotropic Substances Control Act 2015, which among other things prohibited the sale and use of several narcotic drugs in the country. Now, this follows a 2017, petition to the court by farmers growing Mira, that is Kath, under their umbrella body Wakiso Mira Growers and Dealers Association Limited. And quoting from the judgment that was really made by, that is Uganda Justice Muzamiru Mutangula, that is Kibedi, he says that I would declare the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Act 2015 null and void for lack of quorum on the part of Parliament, contrary to Article 88 and 89 of the Constitution and Rule 23 of the Rules of Procedure of the 9th Parliament 2012, made pursuant to Articles 88 and 94 of the Constitution. That is the ruling that was made by Uganda's Justice, that is Muzamiru Mutangula Kibedi, in regards to the nullification of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, in which he really nullified this on ground of lack of quorum to really, pass this particular bill into law, the narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance right there. Away from that, you have to know that in relation to the nullification of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, Health Ministry is ready to relocate, is ready to retable, narcotics law in Parliament. And so the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Diana Trine, has vowed to retable the law against the use of narcotic drugs, psychotropic substances in Uganda following the court's nullification of the law last week. So Dr. Diana Trine said although the court nullified the law, it did not stop the ministry from going back to reactivate it in Parliament. And so that means that she will be able to prepare to see how this particular law can be retabled back to Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, much as it has been nullified by the Constitutional Court of our country, Uganda, more especially by Uganda's Justice Muzamiru, that is Mutangula Kibedi. So quoting her verbatim, saying that we are not legalizing the use of narcotics and it remains illegal in our country. And so we are going to actually revise it and make sure that the law is retabled and passed in Parliament, Dr. Diana Atrine said yesterday. And so that was during the discussion on the prevention of tuberculosis and leprosy as well right there. And so on May 5th, the Constitutional Court annulled the Narcotics, Drugs, and Psychotropic Substances Control Act of 2015, which prohibited the sale and use of several narcotic drugs in the country. And so in his ruling, Justice Muzamiru Mutangula Kibedi declared the law null and void because it had been passed without the required quorum, of 1/3 at Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, more especially the 9th Parliament that was in 2012. And so that is something that you need to know in regards to the annulled Narcotics, Drugs, and Psychotropic Substances Act, Control Act of 2015 right there. All right, let us get to issues to do with the oil and gas here in our country, Uganda. When shall we expect the first drop of the oil that is being extracted here in our country, Uganda? That is in 2015. And so what is 2025, according to what the government is telling the wananchi here in our country. And so what you need to know, that the Permanent Secretary that is at the Ministry of Energy and Minerals Development, Irene Batebe, has assured Ugandans that proceeds from the oil and gas sector will be well utilized to facilitate sustainable that is development for all Ugandans, is what she is giving us as assurance in regards to oil and gas money here in our country, Uganda. And so Batebe, who was speaking at the 10th edition of the East Africa Petroleum Conference and Exhibition in Kampala, said government has put in place the oil and gas revenue management policy that will guide utilization of oil and gas revenue right there. So information from the Petroleum Authority of Uganda website indicates that expected revenues through the agreed fiscal regime after first oil from the three main projects, that is the upstream, the East African crude oil project, and the refinery will hit a total of, that is $69.7 billion
that is apparently 257 trillion Ugandan shillings over the project's life, and an average of that is a 2.8 billion US dollar. Apparently, that is 10 trillion per year. And so, the money that Uganda is expecting from this oil and gas per year, once the refinery starts, will be 10 trillion per year, and this will really supplement the current budget of our country, Uganda. And you have to know that Uganda's budget currently stands at 47 trillion. And so, once the oil production refinery starts, you have to know that 10 trillion will be got per year to supplement that is the Uganda's budget. So that means that by 2025 Uganda will be talking about that is around 60 trillion budget, and that will be used for the development of the country. And in all this, according to what we are getting here, is that a total of 69.7 billion US dollar will be got from the projects, the project's life of oil and gas here. And so that means that 257 trillion can be realized from this oil and gas once the actual production begins. I am talking about the refinery and also the sale of the products that will be got from the oil and gas right there. And so, as a country, we need to celebrate that we already have something that will be able to supplement the budget that we do have in our country, Uganda. And once the refinery of the oil begins, we shall be able to really get enough money to facilitate some of the sectors that we have in our country, Uganda, the ministries, departments and agencies and local governments that we do have. And so, because of that, we should also be able to see improved development infrastructure taking place in our country, Uganda, at different levels. And so this is something that we need to do. And so we should always follow the development right there. Dear viewer, you need to know that in 2019, the government of the Republic of Uganda used around 200 billion Ugandan shillings from the Petroleum Fund, where revenue from all petroleum-related activities is deposited to finance the budget right there. But with a bulging debt burden, and this is something that we cannot run away from as the citizens of this country, that our country is overburdened by the debt that the country has really accrued. And so, remember, the country has borrowed a lot of money and they're supposed to pay back. And so the country has been burdened with, debt burden right there. And so a consistently growing cost of administration continue to increase, and then the seemingly inescapable corruption. There have been concerns on whether Ugandans will feel the proportionate impact of the much touted petroleum sector in transforming the economy is another question that remains unanswered, whether the citizens of this country will be able to feel the impact of the oil and gas, more especially when it comes to the revenue that will be generated from this particular project and translated into development in our country, Uganda, because Uganda is known for corruption as well. And so even as we talk right now, some Ugandans are not well with the way the oil and gas sector is being managed, and so they seem to be smelling rats in regards to the projects that are undergoing in regards to oil and gas here in our country, Uganda. And so you have to know that on other discussions to dominate the three-day the biennial East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition, which started yesterday, include Africa and climate change, and the continents need to find adaptation measures, according to the Uganda National Oil Company statement on Twitter right there. And so the conference is a platform for the East African countries to showcase their potential in the sector and facilitate deliberations on energy and social economic development. This year's conference is under the theme that is East Africa has a hub for investment and exploitation of petroleum resources for sustainable energy and social economic development. And that is the theme for this year's East Africa Petroleum Conference and Exhibition that is taking place in Kampala there. And so oil and gas expert, that is none other than Eli Karuhanga, as quoted by the Uganda Media Center, saying that Uganda's commitment to have fast oil out by 2025 and appeal to civil society and environmental activities to cease being a stumbling block to that target. So he says that some oil and gas sector projects like the pipeline from Hoima to Tanzania have faced, that is, resistance from activists who argue it it will negatively affect nature and pose human rights abuses to the residents along its routes right there. So these are some of the problems that are being registered as the stumbling blocks to the East African crude oil project that is right from Oima up to Tanzania, up to Tanga, where the pipes are supposed to be extended to facilitate the refinery, and then also to facilitate the exportation of the oil out of Uganda and also out of Africa to other markets that are outside Africa right there. And so this is a very good development that we need not to really take for granted right there. Away from the issue of oil and gas, let's get to the issues to do with investment. You have to know that Uganda named the best investment destination in East Africa is the news that we have received as a country. You have to know that Uganda beat 6 other nations to emerge the best investment destination in East Africa during a global investors awarding ceremony in Abu Dhabi that on Monday. So Uganda, through its investment authority, bagged the gold award for attracting the best investment project in 2022 during the annual investment meeting that is IM 2023 in Abu Dhabi. Remember the time that Uganda was able to go to Abu Dhabi for the global for what we call the investment platform that was really given for the investors right there. And so I remember that this 2023 annual investment meeting is a leading platform for investors in the world, where more than 170 countries are taking part in exhibitions and lobbying investments in their countries. Rwanda's development board came second, is something that you need to know. The Minister of Foreign Affairs in a statement welcomed Uganda's top rank as key to attracting foreign direct investment, that is FDI. And so technology transfer and promoting the country's exports and tourism is what Uganda is looking at. Evelyn Nanite, who is the State Minister for Privatization and Investment in our country, Uganda, tweeted on her private Twitter account saying that, "Congratulations, team, we did it for Uganda. This only means more factories and jobs for Uganda and Ugandans as well." And so Uganda Investment Authority, one of the agencies representing the country at the meeting, termed the development as a big win for Uganda right there. So Uganda has recently intensified that is its appeal to international investors with the President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni at the forefront of rallying investors from across the world to invest in Uganda's virgin areas like the minerals and agriculture sectors right there. So just last week, Museveni set up the State House that is Investors Protectorate Unit as a means to protect investors from what he termed as corrupt government officials who ask bribes from potential investors, and when such investors refuse to give bribes, they are frustrated. So the country's tax regime also tends to have special provisions for foreign investors, such as tax waivers and tax holidays spanning nearly a decade, while others are given free land to set up factories as well as free amenities. And when we talk about the free land, it reminds me of the industrial parks that have been identified by Uganda Investment Authority, where West Nile has got around 3 industrial parks that will be established, starting with the one of Nebi, where the community was able to give around 500 acres of land that will be used for investment right there. Madiokolo also gave land over, that is 600 acres of land, and then Yumbe district gave over 1,200 acres of land for establishing investment hub right there. And so the 3 districts that we have in West Nile, once the one for Nebi is really successful, and the other time the political and technical leaders of Nebi, they were able to meet the officials from Uganda Investment Authority, led by that is the Uganda Investment Authority chairperson Morrison Rakakamba, together with the Director General of Uganda Investment Authority, talking about Mukiza Robert, right here in Arua City. And I believe that out of the meeting, there were some resolutions that were reached out to really facilitate the establishment of the industrial park that will be really established right there in Mbaroriang, that is in Angal Nyaravur Town Council, Nebi District. It is bordering, that is Nebi District with the Pakwash right at before reaching Gotmari, for those who have ever used that particular road. And this is something that you need to know. And the one for that is the Mariukolo, it is in Rhinokem. Right, it is in between Rhinokem and the areas that is upstream as you move towards Arua City. And so the land is also big enough. And then the one of Yumbe, I think it is also in Aringa South constituency, where Honorable that is Alioni York Odria comes from. And so the 1,200 acres of land that was given by Yumbe District Local Government for the establishment of the industrial park is also a very good one. So what happens at this industrial park? You have to know that Uganda Investment Authority gives a free land for those investors who would love to invest in the region. So like the one that we have in maybe the 500 acres of land, once an investor wants to invest in West Nile, the investor will really has to, he will be able to go through Uganda Investment Authority so that he gets, some, good acres of land for him to establish that investment that he wants to put up right there. And so as we wait for the national grid, we have to know that we already have the land. And so we are waiting for the 132 kV line that will be tapped from the Karuma hydro electricity dam right there to supply West Nile with sustainable and reliance power that will be able to facilitate industrialization. And I believe Uganda Investment Authority is really doing a lot to see that people invest in our country, Uganda. And so the industrial parks that have been identified, they are not only for the foreign investors to come, but I have to tell you that the industrial parks are also meant for the locals. So if you're one of the local investors that we have in the West, you can as well write to Uganda Investment Authority for you to have a piece of land where you can also establish your industry right there where they have identified as the industrial park. It is quite unfortunate that Arua City has got no land that has been earmarked for industrialization, as we cry for industry factories to be established in West Nile. I am foreseeing that these industries and factories will be established out of Arua City, because Arua City has got no land that can be used for establishing the industrial park. That is a quite unfortunate bit that I need to bring to your attention right this morning in regards to what is happening in our country, Uganda, right there. Okay, all right, you have to know that the AIM 2023 has been held under the theme, the investment paradigm shift, the future investment opportunities to foster sustainable economic growth, diversity and prosperity. Now at the meeting, where decision makers, investors, experts, and academic figures from all over the world gather to discuss the shift in the global investment landscape, Uganda's delegation from the UAE Embassy and UIA also includes officials from Uganda Wildlife Authority, Uganda Export Promotion Board, and also Uganda Free Zones Authority. So the annual investment meeting is an initiative of the AIM Foundation, an independent international organization fully committed to empower the world's economy by boosting effective promotion strategies and facilitating opportunities for economic productivity and expansion right there. All right, dear viewer, I think let's go for a break, and when we come back, we still have more for you. I will be getting to tell you what is happening in the world of sports as sport updates come your way in the program, The Kokoliriko Show, live on Western Television, on Zuko Satellite Channel 0073 and StarTime Channel 477, and also YouTube as well, and also Facebook. And we do appreciate each and every person who is glued to the television at this particular time, and you want to know each and every information that we have here in our country, Uganda, and what is happening internationally as well. And so Western Television gives you the platform to give you both local, national, and also international headlines that you need to know. Good morning, my name is Denis.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Get more for less on StarTimes this Easter season. Cartoon channel for best children entertainment. New global series. Local drama on Makula TV and football all around the world. Simply make weekly or monthly subscription and enjoy upgrade to the next bouquet. For classic or super bouquet customers, subscribe for a month and enjoy 5 days extra. Family time with StarTimes. StarTimes is regulated by UCC.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
I'm telling you that all the spirits of DJ Zero. My. Hear the spirit. Yes. Oh!
I want it inside my ginger.
Olé!
You give me sugar.
Not all the way.
Oh yeah, I gotta spend it all.
Yeah,
you make me temperature the rise. Girl, I make me temperature the rise. Alright.
My name is Simon, living with DJ Jerome.
I am Fifi. Yeah.
Let's do it! Say! Thank you, DJ Jerome. You're one of the best.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
You're watching West Nile Television. My name is Denis Oringi, and I'm here to give you a breadth of every information that you want to know in the world of sports this morning, starting from the local games that will be played. Do not forget, on 14th of May 2023, Koshi Urban will be taking on, that is Nebi Central, in the West Nile Regional League final playoff right there. And it will be at Greenlight Ababet Stadium here in Arua City. And I have really got information from Nebi that guys are warming up. I remember Saturday will be the Castro Festival, and then they will say after Castro Festival like this, they will not be able to sleep. And they will be able to travel throughout the night up to Arua, and they will be able to rock Arua City. And you know, when it comes to football fans, we do have football fans from the other side of Alur sub-region. When they have known of a game that their team is going to play somewhere, they always really, give that support to see that the team wins. And so this time around, we are waiting to see what will really happen between Koshi Urban and Nebi Central. How massive the game will be is what I'm anticipating and I'm expecting to see. And remember, West Nile Television will also be able to give you the opportunity to follow the game live wherever you might be catching the game from. And so make sure that you have a date with West Nile Television on 14th of May 2023, as we shall be able to broadcast the final live on your screen right there. And so do not forget that, and so I have to give you the information that you need to know. And also you have to know that yesterday in the Uganda Premier League Star Times, there are two games that were played right there, and I thought allow me to tell you that yesterday Bright Stars were able to deny Vipers chance to go top on the log right there. And so what do you need to know about the game that was played yesterday? You have to know here that Solistilo Bright Stars was able to trounce Vipers 1-0. Emmanuel Loki scored midway the second half that is hand Bright Stars a 1-0 win over Vipers, who missed a chance to move top. The South Sudan International scored the winner in the 62nd minute in a fixture. Hassan Matovu was named man of the match for his match-winning serves that he was able to cause right there. And so, according to the Vipers Sports Club, that is the handle, they say that a narrow defeat yesterday's afternoon. So Vipers, who remain second on the 15-team table standings, miss a chance to overtake that is Sport Club Villa, as they remain on 45 points, one behind the Jogos, who have played one more game. So maximum points lift, to 7th position on the table with 35 points, the same points with 6th placed Uganda Revenue Authority right there for you. So Vipers will play again on Friday away to Ondoparaka, while Bright Stars will play Wakiso Giants on May 16th at Kabaka Kiabagu Stadium right there in Kampala, is what you need to know in regards to the game that was played yesterday. So dear viewer, you have to know that today the game that will be played, the Bull will be taking on Arua Hill, and so Bull will be locking horns right there with Arua Hill. And so what you need to know here is that Arua Hill are searching for their first ever league win over Bull after 2 defeats and a draw in the last 3 games that they were able to play right there. And so Fufa Technical Center in 4 p.m. is where the game will be played, and the time that the game will be played is what you need to know. So Bull and Arua Hill lock horns at Kakindo in the only game of the day in the Star Times Uganda Premier League today, Wednesday. So the hosts are still searching for their first win of the second round, while Arua Hill have been in good form of recent winning 3 of the last 5 matches that they were able to play right there. So Simeon Masaba, who recently deputized Arua Hill coach Livingstone Babasi at Ondoparaka, will face his former boss, is what you need to know. And then Bull are on a 3-match drawing streak and come into the game on the back of goalless draw with the Wakiso Giants, and lie 8th with 33 points. So Arua Hill are 4th with 37 points and will be targeting their first win over Bull after losing 2 and drawing the other of the 3 meetings that they had right there, is something that you need to know right there. And so you have to know also Hakim Abdul recovering center, Cipriano Kiabadi, captain on steady comeback mission in the Fresh Dairy Uganda Secondary School Sports Association, is what you need to know. That for yesterday there were a number of games that were played right there. And in the basketball, you have to know that Budo Secondary School makes it 2 out of 2 after easy win over Ndeje Secondary School in the 2023 Fresh Dairy Secondary game or games that are really going on right there in Fort Portal, is what you need to know. So we do also have more information that you need to know right this morning in regards to the games that are being played. But before that, let's get to give you what is happening in the world of the international sports, is what you need to know. Yesterday, you have to know that Real Madrid was able to play with Manchester City, but the good thing is that Kevin De Bruyne rocket secures a draw for Manchester City at that is Bernabeu. The game ended 1-1 draw, is what you need to know. And the person who saved the Manchester City was Kevin De Bruyne, as he was able to really score his goal right there. So Manchester City denied Real Madrid a priceless advantage in the first leg of their Champions League semi-final, coming from behind to salvage a 1-1 draw at the Bernabeu. So a first half smash and grab display from the reigning champions would seemingly play dividends as they absorb copious amount of pressure before drawing fast blood through a Vinicius Junior effort right there. So however, an equally exquisite strike from Kevin De Bruyne pegged Los Blancos back in the second half, setting up what we call a tantalizing return leg at the Etihad next Wednesday. And so the return leg will be played next Wednesday right there at Etihad. That is the home of Manchester City, is what you need to know. So the home faithful's frustration were evident in the opening exchanges, as Real were more than happy to let Manchester City knock the ball about in and around the final third while shifting their visitors' creativity. And so is something that you need to know right there. And so what is happening in Manchester City, you need to know that Manchester City to rival Manchester United for Benfica, that is a wonder kid in the transfer for Manchester City right there. So Manchester City have reportedly joined the race to sign Benfica wonder kid, that is Shir Ndur, with the local rivals Manchester United also interested in the youngster right there. So the 18-year-old currently plays for Benfica B in the second division of Portugal, but made his first team debut in March of this year, appearing off the bench during a 5 5-1 win over Victoria de Guimarães. And now, having broken the record for the youngest player to ever feature for Benfica B and regularly turning out of Italy's under-20 side, the midfielder has singlingly gained Adimares from around Europe right there. And so that's something that you need to know in regards to the game that was played yesterday in the Champions League. And what do we have today? And in today's game, you need to know that in Champions League, we shall be having AC Milan taking on, that is Inter Milan, and that game will be played at 8 p.m. And so make sure that you really, booked your time properly, well, right there. Let's get to Manchester United. When we are talking about transfer right there, you have to know that Manchester United goalkeeper David De Gea agrees new Manchester United contract. So that means that David De Gea will be staying in Manchester United is something that you know right there. And then also you have to know that Spurs linked Olivia Gardner to leave Frankfurt at the end of season is something also that you need to know. And also you have to know that Lerma rejects multiple Bournemouth contract offers is also another thing that you need to know in regards to the transfer right there. And dear viewer, with that we have come to the end of our Kokoliriko show right here on Western Television. And also with that story of the transfers from that is the European football, we have also come to the end of the sport updates this morning. Only that I wish Arua Hill Soccer Club well, as they will be taking on that is Bull FC right there in Jero. And so we pray that they will be able to play the game very well. And also you have to know that the next game that Onduparaka will be taking here home, it will also be a very hot one. And not forgetting the big game that will be played over the weekend on Sunday here at Ababati Greenlight Stadium between the Koshi Aban and Nebi Central. Make sure that you really watch the game. For those who can make it to Arua City, I wish you well. And for those who cannot make it to Arua City, Western Television is here to give you every information that you need to know. And allow me to disclose to you that the television will be able to cover the game live from Greenlight Ababe Stadium. And the like of Owen Fredibo, not forgetting Lady Susie Benson, they will be doing the analysis right there live from Greenlight Stadium on Dubaraka, together with other sport pundits who will also be shipping in to analyze the game that will be played between Kochi Aban and Nebi Central here in Arua City. As Denis Oringi Maina will be making the political analysis of the game after the game, and that will be on Monday of of next week. And so that is something that you need to know. And do not forget that there are other games that are going to be played. Not only football, you have to know that there are other games that are going on. There's golf that is always played here in Arua. And for those who might be able to reach Arua over the weekend, if you have nothing to do, you can just come to the golf course here in Arua and you play your golf. And also other games of volleyball. You can also get to that is Tuhambe, football arena. You can as well, practice what you can really do best for you in as far as sports is concerned. So sports is not all about football. You can also jog around. Even me from here, I need to go and jog a bit because I have talked for 1 hour and 30 minutes, and it is not easy to talk for 1 hour and 30 minutes. So that means that I need to go and relax a bit and also stress my veins a bit so that I can really get back to other responsibilities that I do have right here at Western Television. We do appreciate you very much, and dear viewer, you have to know that other programs will be following suit. You have to know we also do have that is the Northern Request Hour. But before Northern Request Hour, remember today is Wednesday, we shall be able to have the Business Bank with Enrico Morris, as he will be able to take us through what is happening in the world of business. And do not forget, after that we shall be able to have the Northern Request Hour, where you are able to request for this song that we have here in Northern Uganda. All this is to promote the West Nile artists and the artists that we have in the Greater North. Remember, for many years, these artists were not known at the international, platform, and the television, that is Western TV, provides the international platform because we are coming to you live both on Zuko Satellite channel 0073 and StarTimes satellite also channel 477. And so it gives the opportunities for our West Nile artists, and together with the artists we have in northern Uganda, to showcase their talents when we talk about music. And do not forget, Street Talk comes back for the Wednesday edition. MC Sarge will be in one of the streets that we have here in West Nile, and he will be able to have a conversation with the people that he will be able to get in the street on the topical discussion that he will be able to post right there for them, as they will be able to make a discussion on the topic that he will be able to throw to them right there. And then you don't forget from 2 to 3, the Whistle Time Sport Hour comes your way every Monday through Saturday. And today we shall be able to have the Wednesday edition, where Fordribo Owen, Lady Susie Benson, they will be making analysis of what is happening in the world of the sports. My work is to give you updates, and so more of those information in regards to sports, you will be able to get the analysis from the 3 persons that have been able to mention their name. Don't forget, from 3 to that is 5 p.m. we always give you the movie that makes your afternoon after eating that heavy food that you will be able to eat and taking a cold drink that you always like as you sit in your comfort zone to follow the movie. Do not forget, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Us and the big brother DJ Mosh together with the Fifi Afi comes back with the Wednesday edition of the program that is the Shuku Shuku, where they mix it down for you, the musical videos from this region, from northern region, from other regions that we have in our country, Uganda, and also they go international. And so they will also be able to tell you the celebrity news that they have for you, who is doing what, where exactly, who has done what, where exactly, and who is planning for what, where exactly. And they will be able to have the analysis of that during that particular time of the program, the Shuku Shuku, that comes your way every Monday through Friday here on Western Television. And at exactly 7 p.m. Okumuringa Christine comes back with the Nilecast, the news program that we have here on Western Television, giving you a breath of every information that you need to know happening here in West Nile, northern Uganda, Uganda at large, and also internationally, as she will be presenting them right for you at exactly 7 p.m. and then move towards 8 p.m. Dear viewer, you have to know that there are other programs that are being rolled out. They are coming soon, and so make sure that you stay glued to Western Television. Arusu, for those who want to wed and you want your your event or your function to be covered live, and also you want your function to always be played on the television. The program Arusu caters for wedding and also introductions that we do have in this region. Remember, other regions, they always showcase what they have, what they know, how beautiful their women are, how handsome their husbands are. And so we have also to do that here in West Nile. And so Western Television has got a platform for you that you can really showcase your beauty, your handsomeness, and also your culture in regards to matrimony and also the traditional introductions right there. Do not forget, also we do have a program that is coming, that has started already. I'm talking about the Kadogo program right there, plus other programs that are going to be rolled out. What you need to do, let it be on Zuku Satellite 0073 and StarTimes channel 477, and do not forget to always follow Western Television YouTube. Dear viewer, 1 minute to the top of the hour of 9 a.m. and I have done this purposely to tell you that from tomorrow onwards, we shall be stopping at 9 a.m. I have been given another 30 minutes by the management, and allow me to appreciate management very much for adding more 30 minutes onto the Kokoliriko show here on Western Television. I'm out of here. Catch me again tomorrow for the Thursday edition of the program. Have the best of your morning.